main types of employer who hire teachers after a CELTA course. First, there's private language schools. So these are schools where students come from abroad. They're usually adult students during the year, but of course, in summertime, in school holidays, we get lots of groups of teenagers and children as well. But the majority of the year, it's adults only. It's usually young adults. There is a mix, but it's usually young adults. Maybe people who want to improve their English before they apply for a new job or before they do a master's degree or something like that. They tend to be quite fun schools to work in. So a typical class might have, I don't know, 3 Brazilian students and an Italian student and a Swiss student and maybe 2 from Saudi Arabia and 1 from Kuwait. So a real mix. Class sizes tend to be small. And most schools operate on a kind of a full-time student basis. So usually you'll have the same students every day, Monday to Friday. Often the day finishes quite early, so you might finish by 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And these schools will operate rolling enrollment. So you could have students leaving every Friday, new students starting every Monday. So it's a very varied working environment. There are lots of private language schools in the UK, scattered throughout the country. They're in the kind of places that tourists often go. So obviously there's lots and lots in London and other big cities, but also in smaller cities, say along the south coast, like Brighton, Bournemouth, Eastbourne, more touristy places like Cambridge and Oxford and Edinburgh and York. And those are the kind of places you can expect to find private language schools. And the main qualification that private language schools look for is CELTA. The other kind of job you could get after a CELTA course in the UK would be teaching what we call ESOL. So ESOL, I mean, it's the same. It's English to speakers of other languages. But usually this is the term used when we're talking about people who haven't travelled here in order to learn English, but people who are actually living in the UK. So that could be a mix of different people. It could be asylum seekers, refugees, people who've travelled over maybe because their spouse is on a working visa and now they're living here too. So it's usually people, as I say, who live in the UK. Might be organised classes in FE colleges or maybe charitable organisations or other educational bodies or organisations. And in those classes, it's quite similar to what you're doing in private language schools, but there are a few key differences. One is that full-time courses are very rare. So most of these students will come in once a week or twice a week, maybe 3 times a week, but you probably won't have the same students every day, Monday to Friday, for weeks or months on end. They also, I guess, work a little bit more like the mainstream